G'day, Lucas Monocroft here, CEO and co-founder of Tribu, and I've got the absolute pleasure today with Paul from Mercury IT. Thanks for joining us, bro. Really do appreciate this.
That's all right. Happy to be here.
So before we get started, I know I really want to dive into the world of AI, especially in the MSP landscape. As you know, this has been my world for the last 3 to 4 years. There's been a huge topic that's come to light, thank God, from ChatGPT in the last 8 or 9 months. Especially in the not just the MSP landscape, obviously worldwide. Before we get into though, just maybe just give us a quick introduction on yourself, Paul, the company, your background, your current job role, how long you've been with the business for, just a general chit chat, so then people who are listening in can understand before we dive into detail.
Yeah, too easy. So yeah, as Lucas said, my name's Paul. I'm the operations manager at Mercury IT. Suppose the background of me is I've been with the company, it'd be almost 12 years next year, so 12 years in January. I came from government and then through to large multinational enterprise before coming into the MSP space, which was exciting and terrifying all at the same time. Worked from level 1 help desk all the way through to the operations management role that I sit in now. A bit about the company. We've been around since 2004. About 8 years ago, we went through quite a large merge. So basically Mercury IT merged with 2 other companies, to which is where I came in as, I suppose, being acquired, lack of a better word. And yeah, we sort of built the team up since then. We're about 55 staff Australia-wide. A little bit of offshoring here and there, but yeah, really going strong and really happy to keep helping our clients solve their IT issues, which is always brings a smile to my face.
Yeah, nice. 12 years, hey? So have you had your long service leave already?
It sits there. We had a bit of a chuckle that if I was to take all my annual leave entitlements and long service, I could take about 6 months off, but I don't think anyone would let me do that.
And you'd have to figure out what you want to do with yourself for 6 months straight. You might get a bit bored, hey?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, I get it. It's a hard one. That's interesting, hey. So I want to double click on the conversation around the acquisition, because this is definitely a hot topic in the MSP space, especially a lot of MSPs are either wanting to sell, getting to that age in their life, or a lot of the younger generation MSPs are wanting to buy. A lot of the time I hear the stories, which is, we acquire the MSP, all the stuff come along with it. Typically the owner doesn't. And then 12 months, 18 months, 2 years later, all the staff have gone, half the customers are left, the acquisition hasn't gone to plan. It worked well from a Mercury IT point of view. Do you mind if we just dive into that a bit, if that's okay?
Yeah, definitely. Look, from our side, it was a merger of 3 companies. We all had, I suppose, for lack of a better word, 3 different product offerings for the market. Where I came from was a Citrix desktop as a service type offering. We had an infrastructure as a service offering, and then your traditional MSP side of things as well. So it's been a while. It was turbulent there. There was clients that moved on. There was staff that moved on. I actually recall the infrastructure as a service side, pretty much the ink had dried, and then all that staff left, or all those staff left. Good English, Paul. And we were left holding a platform we knew nothing about. So yeah, it's not fun from any standpoint, but we got through it. We got some really good customers that are still with us today. Some that have stayed with us up until recently and then moved on. But yeah, it kind of comes back to, was it fun? No, it wasn't fun from any side. I don't think, like, you can talk to the managing director now and he still goes, look, if he could go back and redo it, he probably would. But we play the cards that were dealt and we get through it. But interestingly enough, from, I suppose, I'll call them the 2 smaller companies, I am the last one standing, which is interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So out of over the entire acquisition, 8 years later, whatever it's been, you're the last person. Yeah. Interesting, hey? There you go. Well, and you're obviously running the operations now, so it's worked out well for you, but hasn't worked out too well for a lot of the other people in that process.
Look, a lot of the other people got what they wanted out of it, and that they've gone on to further their careers in other companies. I'll be honest, I didn't come across in a management role. I came across as a senior tech looking after a Citrix platform, and I was tapped on the shoulder and said, "Oh, well, why don't you apply for this role that we've got advertised?" To which I discounted myself and went, "Well, you're looking for all these skills. I don't have those." But yeah, fast forward for the last, I've been in this role 7 years, and it's sort of evolved and adapted and changed, and I would not go back and change a thing.
You're loving where you're at now. Now, before we dive into the AI space, I'm really curious, and from an operations manager position, a lot of people, especially in these type of conversations, you're either a tech or you're a business owner, you're kind of like somewhere in the middle. You're the glue that holds the entire company together, is what I'd normally call it. Not sure if that's what your boss says or not, but that's how I see it. For the listeners out there and people that would chime into this a bit later, maybe explain a bit about your role. What does an ops manager do in the organization, and why is it so important?
Yeah, definitely. So bit of everything. So yeah, still occasionally get hands-on on the tools. I'm the escalation point for a lot of our people, and most of the time they've got the answers, right? You're just sort of coaching them through that process. On the other side, there is the financial management to make sure that we're profitable, we're achieving our goals, we're meeting the metrics for our financial stakeholders, as well as for our clients. So there's a bit of technical account management, heaps of people leadership, general management. You're looking at processes. How can we improve? How can we get more efficiencies? And some of those efficiencies, it's that almost that 1% better every day, which I know is someone else has coined that term, but I'll steal it for now. So yeah, not one day looks the same, but yeah, you're constantly on the look and going, okay, how can I improve this? How can we continue to deliver an awesome service to our customers? Obviously fix any holes or gaps that we have. But and probably comes into this conversation, which is what can we do differently to continue adding value and keep our people engaged and coming through and upskilling. And part of that is not doing the same dumb stuff over and over, which is where AI and automation comes into it.
Great segue. And you're referring to LSKD. Do you own any of the LSKD gear? You do? Nice, love it.
I've got a few of it here, and follow along their CEO and CIO quite frequently. So yeah.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to jump on that big bus yet?
I have not, but it's funny, we talk about almost their early stages where it wasn't LSKD and they sort of rebranded as that activewear, and I've got quite a few friends in the industry that work for competing brands, and just how they've changed their image from this skatewear brand to a full activewear following, and build a community and all that. It's a real, I'll call it a good Queensland success story.
It's great inspiration, and I guess that's a common conversation you have internally around, be 1% better every day. Then that's a good alignment there from a values, morals perspective. Love it, absolutely love it. All right, great segue. Obviously, from an ops point of view, you're always looking for efficiency. That's how we reconnected again after many years from when we initially launched that AI a few years ago now. So I'm keen to dive into why you initially thought about, the efficiency gains in the business by using AI. What drew you to essentially coming and using our platform, and then what you've seen off the back of that. And then I want to dive into other aspects of how we can expand AI throughout the entire business.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't want to say we fell back into it. It's the marketing fable that it's I think it's like 11 touch points before someone actually buys the product. But we got to a point where it came out of a recruitment challenge. So we were getting brand new people in, level one, change of industry. We're hiring real estate agents. We were hiring people from administration, from hospitality, and we found that they were not categorizing the tickets the same way we were. And I'm like, well, I sat down and went,
so skills shortage is what you're talking about. So, and this is still going today, right? Like this is still a big issue in every industry, but even especially in the MSP industry.
Yeah, definitely. And that was it. You know, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of grads coming out, but what we found, and this was actually during that, I suppose the peak of COVID there, is they were gravitating towards some of the bigger companies. You know, your Big Four consulting, your major brands like, yeah, your Qantas, your Bupa, your Essentia, your Dimension Data and all that. And there was not really much left for us. And yeah, a lot of people that were out of work through JobKeeper, through all that, were going, well, I want to get into IT. Now's a great time. You guys are all working. You're working from home. And we're like, great, but you don't know anything about IT. So we were trying to train them to do those basics, and it wasn't getting through. And rather than putting on another $45,000 resource at the time, we said, well, why don't we, pay half the price and get an AI tool that can categorize the tickets based on our historics, based on how we have configured them in the past. And it never sleeps, it never gets tired, and it never stuffs up. It's the boring stuff that no one wants to sit there and do. We looked at it. It was taking us, I think we timed it, was about 30 seconds on a good day to go through, read the ticket description, and then categorize that ticket according to our guidelines. And it was just adding up, and the people weren't enjoying it. They're going, oh, I didn't get into IT to do admin work and categorize tickets. And we said, okay, how about we take that away? We train you up how to, fix the computer, fix the iPad, fix whatever we've got to fix. And we put in a tool that does the boring stuff. And that's, we reached out to yourselves there at Tribu, and, you're like, yeah, we can do that. That's no problems. Perfect. And we're like, sign us up. How do we do it?
So it's a good feel, something you're looking for. So from that, I guess staff recruitment process, getting the right staff on board. And you're right, no staff wants to do admin work. And this is not just the MSP industry. This is just people in generally. Why do I want to sit there filling out spreadsheets? Essentially, that's what entering data into a PSA is in the MSP industry. Essentially, reading every email that comes in, and then figuring out what that email should do and who that email should go to have a support request solved. Yeah, there will be people out there. I'm not going to say this. There will be people out there in the world that love doing that, and that's it. That they absolutely thrive on it. But you're right. If you get into the MSP industry or you get into being in the IT or want to be in IT support, you want to fix computers, right? You don't want to do admin tasks. But unfortunately, that comes along with it, which is very topical when it comes to not just solving problems for customers. It's also filling out timesheets and scheduling in time with customers, and the list goes on, all the administrative tasks that a tech needs to do. So was Tribu your first taste when it comes to AI, or had you already been using AI previously? Had you already been looking into it? We actually haven't had this conversation before, so I'm really curious from all aspects of AI, to be honest.
Yeah, so I suppose from the perspective of, we looked at, I think it was about 3 tools on the market, and it wasn't necessarily from the AI side of things. We kind of fell into it. But there was 3 other, we're looking at a Teams integration piece. So how can we, our field engineers get the details into the ticket whilst they're on site without, pulling out the chunky 3-kilo laptop and connecting to a hotspot or Wi-Fi and send it in. And the Tribu chatbot functionality did that, and we're like, okay, let's try that out. And that was at that point we saw, oh, there's this extra feature. What's this? Because we did try, without going into names, there was 2 other products, and they didn't seem as refined to your chat functionality. So that's why we landed and went, okay, well, we'll try Tribu, and then fell into that AI side of things and went, well, this is pretty cool. You've just saved me thousands of dollars. And just probably touching base on that admin question or comment as well, is you're absolutely right. Techs don't like doing admin work, but that admin work helps us identify where we need to deploy resources. It helps us identify, oh, well, hey, why are we fixing the same printer over and over? So it becomes so valuable, but it's often the last thing that they do. But yeah, we fell into it. There are, I am aware of a few other AI tools on the market, but to be honest, Tribu, it works. Yes, we like obviously supporting Australian-based businesses and more specifically Queensland-based businesses, because that's where we are. And yeah, obviously you guys are just really great and fun as well. So that added bonus. Work with people you want to work with.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate that little plug, man. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you very much. From an AI perspective, so we talk about triage. The conversation we're talking about now is triage, right? Essentially, when a ticket comes in, we're triaging the information and we're passing that off to the right person, the right time, from a priority standpoint, and hopefully scheduling that in, that entire triage function, which is across every industry. It's not just in the IT support industry. Every industry has a triage function, people just don't realize. From an ops manager perspective, you hit a really good point here around the data. Most MSPs that we speak to, and business in general, that are the smaller size, maybe the sub 20 staff member, data, it doesn't seem to be that crucial for them to be able to help make decisions. You're obviously a bit larger. You do have the ops function in your business. You mentioned it really in the beginning of this conversation around how do we know if we're making money? How do we know if we're going in the right direction to make more money, to then deploy those resources in the right way? Data is obviously absolutely crucial for you. So I dare say in the back of your mind, that was probably one of the reasons to go down this world as well without realizing it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, as I said, we deployed it and went, okay, I can put on another junior resource. I think at the time, I know I said it was about $45,000 a year, just to do that data entry portion, or I can spend half that and use that additional money elsewhere for additional resources, or to give back obviously to the stakeholders in the business. To touch on your data point, like, it actually came up earlier this week. I was trying to think, it was Wednesday. So I met with another automation vendor that doesn't do the AI thing yet, but they're more of a robotic process automation. And having that data there, I was quickly able to determine, I said, okay, well, hypothetically, last year I spent 400,000 on labor hours to do this one particular task. Or I can pay them a couple of grand a month to do the exact same thing. I go, well, then I can redeploy these people over here. So I know, speaking to a lot of different size MSPs, it's often, owner-led. They're doing the hiring, they're doing the recruitment, and they're going, it's usually a gut feel when to add another person. We try to remove some of that to go, because you're going to have the gut feel and go, are they the right fit? Are they the right culture fit? But not necessarily relying on that gut to go, if I add on another, say, senior technician, $100,000 resource, when am I going to get that return on that investment? And how do I keep them as well, which is also the other, retention is another challenge in the industry, which is not just unique to small MSPs, it's not unique to large or medium as well. It's across the board.
Yeah, not just staff retention, but just staff acquisition in general, right? So with the skill shortage that the world has, I still can't get my head around how the hell this even happened in a very short period of time. But with the skill shortage, you're right. It's you're not just looking at acquiring a team member, but then also holding that team member long term. And if you could use automation or AI in general to automate a lot of mundane tasks and then reposition those, maybe not as skilled team members, get them skilled up to do other more exciting things, then essentially everyone's going to be happier in their jobs. But I'm biased from that perspective.
No, you're absolutely right. Like, as I said, we employed some people cross industry that wanted to get into IT, and I'll be honest with you, some of them stayed around, some of them didn't, and it was they wanted to grow exponentially fast, and we're going, but we need you to get these basics done. So it's also on us as an industry to go, okay, how do I retain them, get them skilled up and trained up? And exactly that, it's removing those mundane tasks. They've got to have an understanding of the fundamentals of how those tasks work in order to be able to troubleshoot should the AI or the automation fail or spit out a bad error. But it shouldn't be, 12 months creating new user accounts. That's to the right person.
They do that for 2 weeks, and they're like, "All right, I'm done now. What's the next thing?"
Exactly.
which is a great segue. So from a triage perspective, we've 100% solved that process, and now it's to the next phase, right? Which is what do we do after the triage has been solved, and we're now diving into dispatching and scheduling and automating that entire process. The open-ended question I want to throw to you is: have you been looking into other AI tools? Obviously, ChatGPT has been around for a while now. Whether it's in the industry or outside the industry, have you implemented anything else? Where do you think the next thing would be for you, and what do you think that's going to solve from an operational efficiency point of view, but also just in general?
Yeah, definitely. Like we like to consider ourselves on the forefront of technology. So don't get me wrong, every other vendor is introducing some form of GPT or AI. We started working with someone that has integrated Microsoft's Copilot. So basically taking both chat form and as well as text notes and running Copilot over it and sticking that into the PSA or into the ticket. Don't get me wrong, pretty cool. It also sometimes has a sense of humor. I was playing with it one Saturday morning, saying I'm going to throw my printer out the window, and it goes, engineer joked that to throw printer out the window. And I'm like, no, that's how much I love printers. I would throw it out the window. The next step is, it's, you've automated some of those admin tasks. So whether it be ticket prioritization, ticket categorization, the next bit is, well, I suppose it's two forks. One is auto resolution. So if someone sends in a ticket or a job and it's something that can be automated, that boom goes through, automated, close ticket. Don't even have to worry about it. Whether that be through a bot or a chat type agent as well is even better. The other side is, just automating some of those other mundane tasks. So new user setups, user permission changes, users offboarding, the stuff that, once again, someone, gets the fundamentals, does it for 2 weeks, but then wants to move on to, how do I restore a server that's been corrupted by something? Other than that, we've played a little bit, a few of us, with GPT, so OpenAI, as well as a few others. Don't get me wrong, we all see the LinkedIn post where it's, if you're doing content creation, use this one, or you're doing image creation, use this one. And we're geeks and techs at heart. We go, okay, I want to go have a play with it. And we do. We've used, I'll put my hand up and say, I call myself a script kiddie, right? I do some very basic PowerShell stuff in order to get tasks done, but I suck at error handling. You do not want me to be a programmer because your program will crash. But I was able to take my script and go, hey, GPT, give me error handling. And it spat it out. It was beautiful because I had something that was on a tight deadline, and I had to make, I think it was changes to about 700 accounts. I'm going, if I have to go through and double check all those, I'm just going to do my head in. Chucked in GPT, I think it was about 80% was successful, but it spat out the 25% that I needed to look at. So obviously there's benefits there from an efficiency standpoint. I know there's some PSA products and ticketing systems that are integrating GPT into the entry field. So even we met with another Gold Coast based business, and they've partnered with a ticketing system. Sorry, this is coming to me as I'm talking about it, but they've partnered with a ticketing system where GPT goes over it and then presents articles and recommendations based on what has been said and what has been tried. And I'm just going, you're taking the Google out of it. This is not fair. That's how I had to learn, was you Google, you try it. But it does mean that, I suppose, as an industry, we can get through things quicker and we can get our clients operational quicker. So we're seriously considering that product. But being a medium-sized organization, it's not just, we just want to put this in, boom, go. We've got to go through all the fun, which, whilst we're agile, we want to make sure that we can still deliver our services to our clients.
Yeah, due diligence, right, and compliance. Like it's a hot topic in the industry as a whole, or even globally, just with AI. Like with all the court cases that are happening in the US right now, and so whatever you do implement, you need to make sure you're ticking off those boxes. No, I do like the approach that you're taking, which I think is the key missing point across everyone I speak to, which is just trial the apps. Like, Over 8,000 AI apps have now been launched in the last 8 months. 8,000 have been launched. It's kind of like impossible to get through 8,000, let alone get through 100. But just researching and looking at, there's some really good articles out there, and I can do some posts in this chat afterwards that will give you the top 100 to look at. You can then go deep into your industry, go deep into the actual problem you're trying to solve, and it'll give you a list of the top 10 apps to try for your business. And the great thing is that you don't need to just look in the MSP industry vendors. Like I said, there's 400 plus vendors in the MSP industry. That's typically where we've always gone in the IT support space, right? What vendors out there can solve us? You don't need to worry about that anymore. You can now go anywhere, essentially, as long as the system can be integrated into your PSA, which it's pretty open now. Yeah, you're still developing an integration requirement, but you love PowerShell scripts, so you're fine. Then you can look outside the industry, which is where I think is what hasn't happened to date. So it'd be really, I can't wait to see what happens across this. What I want to double click on, and then I'm happy to finish up when we can, is around the conversation of the industry is changing. You mentioned before that you can now, from start to finish, essentially close off a ticket, i.e. a support ticket comes in, it realizes it's a very mundane task, whether it's, my printer's not printing, so, restart the printer spooler and it works again, closes off the ticket, no human intervention, no engineer required, no support technician required, start to finish, AI can take care of that. Where does that go? And has this conversation happened internally from a support tech point of view, from a business point of view, from an operation point of view? Is this still very much a not thinking about it? I don't really care what happens in the industry, all the way through to I can't wait for it to happen. And our entire industry has changed in the next 3 years.
Yeah, look, we've had some very philosophical conversations around it, which has been great. Even to the extent, like if we go back even 5 years, right? We managed a very, I won't call it thriving, but we managed a Citrix desktop as a service platform. Microsoft comes in, you've got Windows Virtual Desktop, you've got Azure, suddenly our profit shrinks. And, you go to, they release Exchange Online, which I know has been around for more than 5 years, but suddenly you don't need hosted Exchange servers or anything like that. Even to the point of a basic, what was it? It was an E3 license at the time. It might have even been a business basic license. You could get everything, the Exchange mailbox, Office applications, OneDrive storage for about $23. And as a SPLA provider, I could only offer Office Standard for $18 was my buy price. You're going, well, you're getting all this extra value, even if I gave it to you at cost. So that's where, and to an extent, it makes sense. Microsoft know their product and can do it better, which kind of leads into that AI as well, which is we're still going to need people to be prompt engineers. AI, whilst it will do most things, it's when it starts to get outside of the realm of basic that it can have an issue. Doesn't mean it won't get there in the future, but creativity is something that I know there's been a few that have drawn pictures and stuff like that, but it still needed someone to prompt it. Doesn't mean that IT jobs will disappear. My opinion, it won't. It means that we'll get to focus on some more of the fun stuff. It's an interesting conversation. I think we could probably go on for hours about this one, about all the different realms. Even to the extent of I spoke to someone and they took I think they've just licensed Copilot or GPT and taken a copy at a point in time so that their staff can use internally, because they realize the benefit of it, but they're aware of the security issues, especially when they're dealing with a lot of confidential data. Like they're not in healthcare or anything like that, but they're dealing with millions of personal records across Australia. So there's still that security aspect as well, that we're going to need people to sit there and design it and come up with it and fix and alter it. But it should be, and once again, AI and that should augment what we do so that we can focus on the things that humans are good at, which is not boring, mundane stuff. We're good at the creative, out-of-the-box thinking, coming up with some weird and wacky ideas like, I don't know, a chatbot AI product. Whereas, let the AI do the stuff that we're not good at, the data entry, the basic updates. Like, ever since we've had computers, we've tried to automate things. You look at patch management, we're going, yep, cool, let's automate that. Yeah, we've got dev test environments, which still needs human interaction. Go in, test it, make sure it works, but we've automated it. Software installs. I remember 10 years ago where I would have to put the different disks in and go, yep, next, next, next. Now it's a wraparound installer. You just click next, next, next. Oh, yep, I want to install it here. Even to the extent of your phones, like I'll turn that way so you can't. No, you can't see it anyway. It's automatic update. Most people don't even know that their phones update, with the exception of maybe it reboots every now and again. Let us focus on the stuff we're good at, and let the computers do the rest.
Absolutely love that. No, I agree with you. And that's where I think a lot of people get misled in the conversation around this whole AI conversation, right? Which is AI is going to replace our jobs. We're going to lose our jobs. Our industry is going to be non-existent, but augmenting the personnel requirements that a company will need in the future, I think is absolutely crucial. And I love that conversation you just said, because essentially all we're wanting to do is bring an AI tech or an AI dev or a prompt engineer into our business, and they will then be that go-to for all aspects of operationally improving the organization, from customer support, customer service, all the way through to invoicing, and looking at every part of the process of what we actually don't like doing. It's really relevant to the why 2x when you can 10x. A big part of that conversation is removing 80% of the mundane work that actually doesn't add value to your life. Remove the 80% of the work that actually doesn't let you achieve your goal of what you're trying to achieve in the next 12 months or 24 months. Give that 80% of the work to a system, to an AI bot. Let it do the mundane work, so then you can focus on the fun stuff. It's like, it's such a no-brainer in my eyes. But I liked hearing how you put it, so I appreciate that, Paul.
All good. And yeah, look, it's funny. I stumbled upon, I think it was like an AI conspiracy theorist thread. I think it was even on Reddit or something, and it talks about, certain jobs will disappear. You're probably right, but there are going to be new jobs, and there are new jobs today that didn't exist 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I think we're very worried about what we've got today without thinking of what can we do tomorrow. It's almost that forget the saying, but it's, there's someone that looks at a glass and, it's either half full or half empty. But that's why we get the people that go, well, it's half full when there's enough for everyone. That's the other one. There's enough pie to go around for everyone. It's not a scarcity mentality. Just get those people around and propel them forward.
It reminds me of the Philippines conversation. Like you said, you got a few offshore staff, whether it's Philippines, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, wherever it might be. Like when I remember running our MSP, this is like 15 years ago, and I first implemented an offshore team in the Philippines and also in India to do all the, like we said, when automation wasn't really there, we used to physically have people doing patches and updates to computers. And I was scared at the time, and I think there was a good reason for it, to even tell our team that we had an offshore team in place. Because the first thing that goes to employees' minds is, oh shit, I've lost my job. And I think this is just that Philippines offshoring scenario all over again. So that's my opinion around that. When you implemented Tribu, it was more than 12 months ago. Did you tell the team you were going to automate the triage aspect, or did you do it behind the scenes and just tell people that, by the way, it just happens now? Like, was there any conversation internally that you were a bit concerned about before you went live?
It's funny. Maybe I should have. But no, we told them. We absolutely told them. We said, this is a problem we're trying to solve. This is what we're trying to do. Similar when we employed people overseas. It was, hey guys, this is a problem we're trying to solve. Probably similar. We tried a couple of different attempts. Not so much with Tribu, but with staff overseas. And I look at it now, and if you go 12 months ago, Would we have changed it? No, I wouldn't have changed it. But yeah, we did. We told them about it, and it's. Do you have a few naysayers going, oh, and think that? Yeah, you're going to have it, and just have the conversation with them. You probably find it's okay. We don't fit you anymore. Let's find you an organization that does fit you, and that's fine as well. We've still got people that go around and do manual updates. I'm going, why? Why are you doing that? I actually remember, I think it was late last year, we went around to a client with 150 computers, and I had a senior engineer get upset because we deployed a feature pack out to them, and I was doing that manually every week, and I'm going, that's okay. If I can get 75% done automatically, you can focus on the other 15, 20 computers that need to happen. Oh, I'm like, I'd rather you go make sure everyone's happy than worry about, sitting there doing a Windows feature update on 150 endpoints. Like, there's better uses of your time.
That's days of just going next.
Yeah. And
Oh my God.
And the worst thing is he was kicking people off the computer at the time. So it wasn't just hurting our productivity as the service provider, but it was hurting our clients' productivity. Because suddenly that person went, oh, well, I was going to sit down and do some data entry or something. Well, I can't because, technician's on my computer and they've gone off and done something else. But yeah, back to, I suppose, the original point. Yeah, we told the people. It wasn't a engaging conversation of, hey guys, we're thinking of doing this. It was, we're doing this. This is what's happening. And almost
with a certainty, like your directive personality, not hey, let's have a discussion about it. And then that's when you get into the philosophical conversations like, no, we're doing this because we need to solve this problem.
Yeah, it was, rather than leading the camel, it was kind of dragging the camel along.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do have to do that in order to get the business and the team to where they need to be. I know, once again, just another leadership fable that we all see on LinkedIn, where it's, sometimes a good leader is getting you to where you ought to be, not where you want to go. So for us, it was, guys, this is happening. Otherwise, we're going to be having the same conversation in 12 months' time, in 2 years' time. We're going to be struggling. We all know that as service providers, our margins are shrinking. So let's do everything we can to make sure that we keep getting that investment or that return on investment.
Love it. That's awesome. I 100% agree. Last question for you, and then I'll let you run and get on with a busy day like every MSP does. And you've probably got 10 tickets waiting for you right now, no doubt.
Yeah, I think my phone has rung about 5 times. Lucky it's on silent.
The joys. So, from a Tribu point of view, AI in general, would you recommend to other MSPs? And why do you think that? I guess it's a leading question, but essentially, what you've already answered, like what holds people back. Any last thoughts around how to get this across the line and why it's so beneficial for other MSPs?
Yeah, I think there's obviously a couple of different methods to which you can tackle it. So, if you're a business owner, there's cost savings to be made. If you're in a management position, there's efficiencies to be gained. So, whether you drag the people along or you try and have an engaging conversation, there's benefits for staff, there's benefits for the bottom line, and there's benefits for the industry. Sometimes it's going, hey guys, if we don't do something in 24 months' time, we're going to have to let staff go anyway because we're going to have to let clients go. Or our clients are going to go to a company that can provide that quicker turnaround of service. I'm not speaking for myself here when I say all our clients are looking to get things done quicker, more efficiently. We have to not only do that for ourselves, but then for our clients. So, I know not a day goes by where a conversation goes, it takes you how long to set up a user account? There's some basic ones that take 5 minutes. I had a client in the legal industry and it would take 3 hours. If I could automate that, that would give time back to solving more tickets, makes me more profitable, and makes the team happier. So, make your team happy, make your financial stakeholders happy, make your clients happy. It seems win-win-win. Are you going to get naysayers? Yeah, just talk to them. They're humans.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That legal one is right. I guess legal and accounting, right? You're setting up that many different platforms and security permissions and all the rest of it. That's hours and hours of boring work. Automate that and then focus on the more fun stuff. No, that's awesome. Thanks for that, Paul. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for today. It's been a good, candid conversation. I can't wait to dive into all things AI and the different apps that are finally coming out into the industry and actually starting to see MSPs use it. I have this candid conversation with Richard Tubb on and off over in the UK, where it's like we've been pushing AI for 5 years and MSPs are still not using it. So I can't wait to see this come to light in the next 6 to 12 months.
Definitely, and it always is. You always got to plant the seed, and suddenly it becomes their idea, and they're like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever," because it was their idea, and you go, "I've been telling you about it for years."
Yeah, it's always after someone else they know in the industry is using it and they tell them about it and they go, oh, well, if you're using it, it must be good. It's a roll-on effect. Love it, man. Thank you very much for today. Really appreciate it.
That's right.
Cheers.
See ya.